Here we are at the Core Culture Podcast, first one of hopefully many, and we have our good friends here. We got Michelle, we got Jesus, we got everyone knows Sacred here, and we're just here to talk about I would like to say ordinary people with extraordinary stories, ordinary people that are doing extraordinary things, and I think all three of y'all exemplify that. So let's kind of get into what it is that you guys do and how you inspire other people. So Michelle, what's up? How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Really good. So tell us a little bit about your background and like where you come from and how you got to be into natural bikini competition. Is that right?
Yeah. So I guess growing up, I've always been like a sport athlete, played basketball, softball, did a little track, swimming. So I always had that activeness within my background. Realized going to college, it wasn't really for me. I liked more of just doing it for fun. Like I had a coach that kind of ruined sports for me. Like we lost and it was silent bus rides. And it was like, I didn't care to win or lose. I just enjoyed playing. So then when I got to college, I got involved with intramural sports. So just for fun, but you do win a t-shirt at the end, which, you know, it gets competitive. So just submersed myself in running the program, staying active, but that's when I really like picked up the gym. And so about my sophomore year, my best friend and I in college decided to try to compete without a coach. So we got into bodybuilding, lifting, we got into doing squats every single day, which is probably not the best for our muscles, but you know, we trained without a coach and it went very wrong.
Why was that?
We both picked up eating disorders.
Oh, no.
So we were eating probably less than 1,000 calories for like a year. We were on fat burners. We were on hydroxycut, Super HD, where it was like we would be in meetings, so we worked together too, and like we would have we would sweat through our t-shirts because we were just on all these different pills that were so bad for us, and like there was warning signs like you need to be off of this in 3 months. We did it for a year. Like we were just sweating. Like
What like made you feel the need that you had to do that, you know?
Yeah, you know, it was just
like, is that how bodybuilding competition like pushes you and like to be as skinny as you possibly can? I mean, where's the health in that?
Oh, I know. Yeah, it's like, you know, without a coach and actually doing some of the research, all you see is let's be as lean as possible. How do you get there so quickly? You use supplements, you use fat burners, you starve yourself. So it's like not being knowledgeable, like not doing our research and how to actually do it correctly. But yeah, we both picked up eating disorders. Like there was nights where we were in bed and like I was curled up in a ball, like crying myself to sleep because I was so hungry. Oh, man, and like I couldn't even
Could you eat if you tried to eat, or you didn't want to eat?
I didn't want to eat because I knew having someone who was doing the same thing, I was like, I know she's not, so I can't give in. I can't do it because I can't let her down. We're both in it together.
Are y'all like still friends?
Yeah, we're best friends to this day. I'll get into that too. Funny enough.
That sounds like a toxic relationship.
Right.
Yeah, we're still best friends to this day. She actually competes too, so we faced our demons and came back through all this.
We went through it together.
Yeah, we went through hell and back, but you know.
Was this here in Austin?
No, this was at UNH, so when I was in college.
Oh, okay.
And so yeah, it got to the point where like I actually was like throwing up food too. Like I would purposely, like because my parents were like, they frowned upon like any bodybuilding, so they would always make me go out to eat. I was forced to eat with them. So then I would throw up like the restaurant food because they forced me to eat. And it was like this huge mental battle within me. And then it got to the point where I would get up and I would black out because I had no calories in me. Like the whole room would go black and I would have to sit. Like I couldn't get up too fast. Like it was really, really bad. And then it took my mom to be like, you need to go see like a registered dietitian. And I sat down with her and she was like, if you continue this way, you'll die. And so I was like, wait a second, what? She was like, you probably have about 3 more months and you'll die.
Did you like look amazing though? Did you look how you wanted
No.
to look for a bodybuilder?
No, I looked skinny. I looked sick.
Yeah.
And like,
Oh man.
I lost all my muscle, like, cause all I ate was just like spinach. Like,
Wow.
spinach, like chicken, but like we were under 1,000 calories for like
Man.
a year.
Oh man.
Didn't think anything, like
But you're lifting while you're doing
yeah.
this.
Oh, 3
Squats,
hours a day,
squats,
squats every day, lifting my heaviest I've lifted, like cardio, like doing double sessions with eating nothing. So it was just like my body was running on
Oh man.
nothing. So I am thankful for my mom, because once that like dietitian was like, you'll die, I was like, all right, this can't be how I make it. Like this can't be the end of me. So then
What are you telling yourself in your head when this is going on? Because like you've fully like committed to something, right? Like you're like, this is my thing that I'm doing. Like what are you telling yourself in your head that says like, this is what's good for me?
yeah.
In retrospect now, I mean, I'm sure you've like,
Yeah, I thought it was normal. Like, I thought it was like, this is what it takes to be a winner. Like, this is what it takes, all this pain, all this, like, struggle. This is what the pros go through. And do some of them go through that? Yes. Like, starvation is still a technique in the bodybuilding world. But with my experience now, I've learned that it's not the way to go about it. And so then I had that conversation with my friend who was I was like, listen, I'm out. I was like, I can't do this. And she was like, thank God, because I'm out too. So we were both waiting on one of us to
bow out. That's competition.
like, that's like a support system of like, yeah, like you're going through it, I'm going through it. Like once one quits, I'll quit. But like it was crazy. And then it took me 6 years to recover from like eating disorder. So like not feeling guilty eating pizza, not feeling like I want to throw up because I feel bad. Like I feel guilty, I feel gross. Like it took me 6 years to come back to a normal regimen again.
You've been going to school the entire time.
Yeah, school.
That's what brought you down here, or how'd you get down here?
So with COVID, I lost my job. I got furloughed, and I've always wanted to move down here. But I got my master's in 2019. I graduated with my master's in public health and nutrition. Got a job back home in Boston, and then with COVID, I was like, you know what, this is my time. Like, and Austin was the first place to offer me a job, and they were like, you need to relocate in a month. And I was like, all right, I'm leaving. And I'm the first one out of my whole entire family to ever leave. Like,
Really?
First cousins, second cousins. Like, I grew up in a town where you're a townie for life. So I'm the first one out of my group of friends to leave. Like, no one leaves. So it was
I feel that.
I needed to get away from the snow, the people, just start a new life and really just live how I want to live.
Have you done any competitions like since being here?
I did. So my first competition was July 10th in Arizona, and then I did a competition out here in Austin July 17th. So I placed 4th overall in the Arizona competition, and then when I came to Texas, I got smoked.
Yeah.
It was like such a humbling experience because I came off like getting 4 medals in Arizona, and then for my first competition ever, which is amazing. Like a lot of people aren't able to do that. And then I get to Texas and wiped, like almost last place in every category. And, it was very humbling, and it showed me what I need to work on. And that's kind of where I am now, is I'm in the bulking phase. And it's just building muscle, shoulders, glutes, just really working hard for that next show.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think something else that's awesome is you told me yesterday that you have a degree in epidemiology, and so like that's what you came down here for to study, and you have new opportunities opening up. So while you're going to school, you're also doing bodybuilding, you're also starving yourself and learning that, but you get a kick-ass job, and like COVID happens, which I'm sure like that's super interesting. Like how does an epidemiologist what do you think about that, right? Like that's a whole weird perspective not everybody has.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say I'm thankful for COVID, but at the same time, in my degree, like it's super interesting, useful, like it is providing a lot of jobs for people. But it is crazy to think that we haven't seen a like disease like this hit the world in a long time. So it is really interesting from that aspect of like, okay, like how can us as like the world plan to be better for the next one? Because obviously we have more technology, we have more research. The vaccine came out so fast and it's not perfect, but just getting used to that education on how can we be better for the next variant, or how can we be better for the next disease to come out. Like we haven't had to contact trace to do like all these investigations in a while. So now it's all about how can we do it quicker? How can we be better to stop the spread of more diseases?
I've always wondered about like, how do you guys get data, and like how do you analyze it, and like how do you know that it's accurate?
Of course, yeah. So for us, collecting data, so I actually do this as well. We interview people who become positive.
Okay.
So we gather demographics like race, gender. We talk about where they went in the past couple days prior to exposure. So maybe there's a restaurant that has been spreading it. So we gather information on clusters, and then we can implement policies and procedures within that restaurant. Like, hey, you guys tend to spread this. How can we stop it? Like, whether it's your staff wearing masks, whether it's, every other table, things like that. But it's a lot of interviews. So we just interview everyone that would speak to us that has become positive, collect all the data, and then there's like statistic tools that we use to develop like p-values, confidence intervals, things like that.
It's fascinating. Sure, everybody wants to know like what the answer is, and you know very well it's like there's probably not an easy one.
Unfortunately, the virus, especially a virus like this, it takes its toll on everyone completely differently. So like that's when you interview people on symptoms and people say, yeah, I lost my taste and smell, or someone else says, I just had muscle aches and a stuffy nose.
That happened to me. I lost my smell for 3 months.
Crazy.
I couldn't taste.
Yeah.
Weird. So
Everything tastes terrible. Water tastes terrible.
still for you? No?
No, not still. Just while I was really sick, but yeah.
But yeah, the fact that people experience different symptoms is crazy. It's just, this virus really takes its course very differently on people. And
That must be hard to try to record and try and find a solution to in a short amount of time.
yeah, and a lot of people are like, because so you do the isolation for 10 days, right? So through research, we found that the virus takes its toll within someone in 10 days and it leaves your system. But when you talk to people, everyone's like, how do you know it's exactly 10 days? Well, we don't. It's the best guess through the research on average.
So give or take.
Give or take. But it's funny when you interview people, they're like, we want an exact answer. And it's like, there will never be an exact answer because this virus takes its toll on everyone.
That seems a little reasonable.
And you can test positive up to 3 months.
Yeah.
Wow.
So but some people will test negative a day after their isolation, but some people take 3 months to become negative. So it's like, you don't know based on like your genetics, your immune system. There's so many variations, and that's why we're trying to study whether it's like, does it affect females more? like are females getting worse symptoms than males?
Is there data that says that? Do you know?
No, as of right now, no. But like that's why we're collecting data to see if there's something within a different like gender, race that are really affecting having worse symptoms.
And
things
this is like
that.
chromosomal or like microRNA. Like how are they doing all this?
Just through data, and then I'm not quite sure with that, but I know there are like tests done taking like genes and running it that way. That's just like a longer process because it's more expensive. So quick results, we're trying to just gather like basic data and do like confidence intervals and p-values.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Something for you to do, I guess.
Yeah, you
It
know.
sucks.
It does. Yeah, I don't wish it upon anyone. That's for sure.
All right. Well, so you got your show coming up, or we're maybe might do a show. We were talking about it. I guess that kind of brings us over to you, Jesus.
Yes.
Jesus, you've been in bodybuilding now for how long? Like a year?
Going on probably 5 years now.
Oh, okay. This is longer than I thought.
Yeah, I was like, I did my first show 2 years into it being serious. For me, I actually discovered weightlifting when I was in middle school. I was a kid that hated running track, so it was like we had a gym. Normally, you have the same coach for everything. So I was like, hey, coach, instead of having to go run these laps, can I just go lift weights? And I remember when I even started, I wasn't even able to do 45s on each side compared to where I'm at now. But same time frame, I went through a tough period. My parents got divorced. So that was my real turning point to that, where fitness, weightlifting in general kind of became my escape. Slowly but surely, it turned into something that I really was passionate about. I enjoyed. Sacred here was actually the first person that got me into getting more serious about it. I met him in college. Only guy in the group that was not aesthetic at all.
Because you were like a bigger dude.
Yeah, I was like 225, 230.
No, you weren't.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the bulky
I was
guy.
the
We all
bulky
had-
one.
we
Oh
all
my
had, like,
God.
abs. Yeah, the whole
had
friend group, we all had
abs.
abs, and he was the one who didn't. And then,
Oh my God.
then he flipped it.
You're like 5'10"?
5'10", 5'9", yeah.
Okay, because you're about the same height as me.
Yeah.
So like 220 is.
Well,
If I could think of myself being 220, I'd be either a very muscular or a very.
well, no, and when I started hitting the 220s, I started feeling it on my knees, my joints. I wasn't as mobile because I love to stay active, play soccer, basketball, volleyball, and I was like, it's time to start leaning out a bit, and I started actually following their ab workout routines.
You have an ab workout routine?
Honestly, it was nothing scientific. We just did abs every day.
Yeah, they just literally hit it every day.
We just did abs every day.
That I would document everything, and years after, or shortly after, 3 months after I graduated, that's when I came back for a visit and had a 4-pack. I was like, it was just a matter of fact of getting a more physical plan. In general, like you have a half-assed plan or you have half-assed results. From there, graduated, went back to San Antonio. I met another really
Where'd you go to
good-
school? You went to school?
Yeah, I went to Texas State, graduated from Texas State.
Did you live there, like on a team?
So freshman year, they tried to get me to walk on for football. What I noticed personally was I'm not a fan of heat. As crazy as it might sound, I hate to sweat, but I like a good challenge. I was like, so I like to call myself lazy, but I'm not gonna turn away from a good challenge. Like, let's go for it. Sophomore year, did rugby for a semester. I was like, let's switch it around. I was like, I loved football and soccer. I was like, I heard it was a combination, so I was like, well, why not? That was
Rugby's
interesting.
cool.
That was interesting too. A little
rules
bit
are weird.
different, more rough. It was definitely a teaching experience. And then junior year, I switched off to then powerlifting. I met another friend of mine that huge guy in the gym, super nice guy. I still remember him. I actually bumped into him a couple weeks ago in San Antonio. And this guy would be like warming up, 315 on bench, 15 reps, anything, back rows, fully maxed out 6 plates. And I still remember like him coming up to me in the gym and was like, hey, is it cool if I work in with you? And I'm like, right. I'm like at 2 plates. Like, he's like, I'll give you till the end of the summer. He's like, we're going to work out together and I promise you we're going to get you there. So he was one of the reasons why I was able to bulk up to the 225, 230. Then shortly after I graduated, met my friend Zeus. I've introduced him to Sager before. He was the one that actually got me into the fitness industry. Started personal training with him. He was the one we had agreed we're going to do a show together. That was actually my first show too. When it came to the cutting phase though, he wasn't able to do the diet. He had dirty bulk too much, and that's from a lot of reading and research that I've done myself is the mistake a lot of people do. We tend to take bulking too lightly as far as on the health side, which you're so supposed to eat the same type of bases, like a good nutritious diet, your proteins, your carbs, your veggies, your fruits, but you just increase more of it. But if you're eating it on the healthier scale, then it's going to take more food for you to actually hit those calories. So from there,
The foods that people most
the food is the hardest. Yeah, the food that people don't want.
When they say I'm bulking, they think that means like Philly cheesesteak,
Exactly.
Big Mac.
Like when I bulked up from 180 to 225, 230 in 3 months. Like I remember that's what I was talking to her about that. At one point, it was like 3 turkey burgers, 2 servings of broccoli, white rice.
And you're doing this all natural, like
I was doing it all natural.
Yeah.
So I was.
You're not even taking hard supplements. You're obviously not
at
taking
all.
any hormones or anything.
Yeah,
like that.
because the federation that I did the first time around was NFF, Natural Fit Federation, and I didn't know what I was getting myself into. It was just trying to figure it out. Hey, you got to pay for class, polygraph. And I was like, whoa, it's an investment. You got to look at it like that. But if you don't ever take that leap of faith, then how are you going to know where you really stand, even if you're just competing amongst yourself?
So you just did this kind of like on a whim. You're like, I'm going to go for it.
Yeah, that I was committed. I had friends that had shows prior to those dates that were backing out, amazing physiques, but just they would psych themselves out that I'm not ready, and you tell yourself something long enough and I promise you you'll believe it. And that was my thing that I was like, I've committed. Like when I set my mind on something, we're gonna go through with it. Worst comes to worst, you just don't try it again, and you don't ever have to wonder what if later in life. So I went with
finish what you start.
Finish what you start type of thing. But it was an experience. The first show for sure. Like I said, by the second day, I caught that friend of mine. He was sneaking cookies out of the gas station. Then I was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Or it's a pre-workout." I was like, "No, man, no more sweets." I was like, "No more cookies." And he's like, "I don't think I'm gonna be able to do it." And he had just dirty bulked for so long that his body went to shock when he tried to eat healthier stuff. Like he was still detoxing. His body was having to adjust.
It's like the complete opposite sort of situation that you had, but like you do have that shock, right?
Yeah, there's like I feel like there's one extreme and there's the other extreme. Like there's like that dirty bulk eating so much and then eating nothing. Like you gotta find that balance. I don't know for you, but for me, after I got a show, like I don't crave sweets. Like I don't eat desserts. But since I went through this, all I crave now is sweets because I've deprived myself so much.
Yeah.
Like, have you experienced that?
Well, for me, I have a sweet tooth.
Peanut butter queen.
Yeah.
Oh my God, jars. I'll go through a jar in 2 days.
I was like, I have a big sweet tooth, so I've learned don't keep anything around that could possibly tempt you. Like, if you don't have the self-control yet, don't even put it in front of you.
Yeah, I gotta do that with
I was like, my to-go thing about how to. Yeah, I was like, cheesecake though. But no, I know exactly what you mean. Like I know for me, I turned lactose actually in middle school, and after my first show, I guess from like such of the deprivation of water, food, I was in lactose for like 2 weeks. That post show, I hadn't had pizza in like 10 years. Like I'm very strict. Like when I have a plan, I stick to it like no matter what. Like there's nothing that's gonna take me off focus. Because more than anything, when it comes to like fitness competitions, you can have the best coaches in the world, nutrition, diet, coaching, whatever it is, but it all comes back on you. Like this is one of those sports where behind the doors, it's more of that work. Like no one sees the process you go through to get there. They just see the final product on stage and they think that's it, all it is.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of, I remember not going to holidays that just to avoid temptation. The gym I would work at, they would let me open it after hours to get my workouts in. Like, I appreciate that. I remember people walking by to go to dinner, and I'm like, I can't, man. I was like, the way I look at it is that, like she was talking about earlier, competing with her friend, where that person you're stepping on to stage next, what if they didn't want that extra rep? They didn't slack off that one day. That could be the difference of you winning and losing. And it gets to that point where...
Are you really competitive?
Yeah, I am, like,
Or
I'm
did you
not,
just
I'm
want
not,
to, did you want to
I love
compete
to
with yourself?
compete. I love to compete with myself more than anyone.
Okay.
For me, that's the way I look at it, where every day, as long as even if you move a step forward with the person you're looking in the mirror, that's what matters. Like, people around you, people come and go. You can't always expect on or wait on others when there's things that you really want to get done. If you have that passion behind it, you're going to make it possible one way or another. And so when I got ready for that show, like, it was mind blowing. I had never had abs. That was mind blowing for me. I was the first one in my family to ever have a 4-pack, 6-pack. That we would call them the cuadritos, which it translates to squares. He has the cuadritos, and it was that was an experience for me too. Because like I said, with them, the guys from college that taught me, they were naturally always already. I didn't even know you had to flex your abs. Like, I had to legitly be like, I need to learn how to flex my abs and control my breathing. And that was one of my somewhat like anxiety about walking onto stage, was like there was gonna be a whole audience, but you get on there and the lights are so bright you couldn't even see the judges. Like, you would just see the shadows and you see no one behind them. And for me, like, when I did it, like I said, I was just game plan, let's try this out, see where we're at. I honestly wasn't even expecting to place top 3, just because, like I said, it was my first. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I didn't know how to go through a dehydration process or anything. Just read up, and put it into play to see how it plays out. That was the same time frame I started documenting everything from fitness. Like, I have years of workouts, years of nutrition on my phone, just because, like I was saying, you need to have the more accurate your plan is, especially as you start to compete, then those little intervals of whether you're absorbing the carbs, resting between sets, it plays a very big role. Hydration, same thing. Like, that was the first time that I really appreciated water, because I was so dehydrated. It hurt, like, for my skin to stretch, to flex, that I was like, I didn't even think about it like that. And after that, it gave me a little bit more of the inside look. Like, of course, like, what you put yourself through just to get to that stage. Finished off getting second. Was the only one that did not have like a coach, a trainer, or anything. But I wanted to prove to myself first before I got other people committed to it. Because me, more than anything, I'm, like I said, I like to stick to my word. I don't like to waste people's time. So I want to know before I get other people involved that I'm 100% already in. I was like, and then if it's a go, then let's do it.
So now you're like completely sipping the juice, like.
Oh yeah, like now, now I just after that, because of, I guess, a lot of the experiences that I noticed from people, was I ended up getting recruited by another gym as a director for sales. And from there, I ended up getting more. I saw the different perspective from training people directly and just recruiting them. For me, I enjoyed more the personal training, the actual one-on-one basis. From that, I probably loved more doing it on my own versus through a company, just because I had the option to decline clients. So, for instance, if there's all the times where people go into the gym, they're like, hey, I need to lose weight or this. But at the end of the day, if it isn't because you want it for yourself, whatever it is, you're not going to do it. Like, if it's because anyone else is telling you, I'm going to waste your time and you're going to waste my time.
But
like,
those failures kind of weigh on you, how you make
They do. They weigh a lot.
Even if it's their thing, not yours.
Well, no, and that's why I tell them, I was like, I still remember my first client I ever had, he dropped 50 pounds in 3 months.
Amazing.
Like, he had knee surgery. He never thought he would be able to do a 5Ks or anything. His wife was doing 5Ks. Yeah. And slowly but surely, I had him like jogging, running. He was amazed. He had actually switched from a sanitary office job to a truck driver. So he's like, there's not much to eat. Like, I was like, I understand. I was like, I'm not trying to change your lifestyle. I'm just trying to help you make better decisions. Like, I'm not saying don't go out and drink on the weekends with your family, friends, whatever. Just, if you're going to have Coke with whiskey, hold off on the sugar. You don't need the extra sugar. I was like, you got to just, same thing, plan for it. From there, I just kind of kept going that direction where I actually got involved into the ministry at one point. Same thing, I've always been drawn to youth because that was my biggest turning point where I was affected and first walked into fitness. From there, I would honestly travel for a while with even like resistance bands and stuff to show these youth some workouts. That was very life-changing as well. I was the right hand to a pastor actually, and there was a lot of kids that were 13, 16 years old that everyone had given up on them already. Like, they had nowhere else to turn. And we would have retreats, kind of like of an alignment, like 2 to 3 day grace periods. And first day, it's like no one wants to be there. Like, it's the last place they want to be at. Like, you would see some of these younger guys cussing out pastors to their face, like no respect for anything. By the last day, like, same people were literally giving us hugs, like telling us, thanks for not giving up on me.
Yeah.
And it was
So
tough.
fitness was like a device to make things.
Yeah, it was a device, and fitness more than anything, like, I've learned a lot of tools from it. Self-discipline, consistency. My personal goal has always been that, like I was saying earlier, was by the time I'm 30 is master something. Whatever tools you get from that, incorporate to the next aspect of your chapter. I was like, because a lot of times we forget about resources or tools, and instead of building on the foundation, we kind of go around it. So then your foundation starts to wobble and eventually it falls down.
Core values.
Core values right there. That's why I was like, and then from there, my nephew, for me personally, I raised him myself. My brother was never around. So he looks up to me a lot too. He knows now, he's 15 going on 16.
Does he lift?
Yeah, he lifts forever. Yeah.
Does he have a choice?
He actually loves it. During COVID, actually, for me personally, was the push that I needed, and I made myself a home gym. Yeah, so then from there, like, during COVID, I was like, I've always wanted a home gym. Like, I started doing the numbers, how much money I spent on memberships, and I'm like, could I have a gym by now? So I put together literally a gym within like a month, picked up a squat rack from Dallas, we literally was on missions, picked up a power tower from Kyle. Nice. I was all over Texas. They're all like, do you really drive that? I was like, hey man, I need it.
Prices skyrocketed.
Yeah, prices were going up.
Crazy.
I compiled up to 600 pounds of free weight. Like,
free?
Yeah, free weight.
Wow.
I didn't.
That's genius.
Like,
what?
Yeah, I had a
genius.
bench. I have everything, like, to do a full workout, like every body part I have.
Alright, I'm going to this place.
So no, and then from there it was just kind of, I just started adding to it. It's a little outdoor with some sun, speakers, TV. But like I said, it was just always one of those things that I was like, people make excuses all the time. Oh, I don't have time or whatever the case is. But I was like, do you have time to sit down and watch TV? You don't have to buy weights. I'm sure you have groceries bag somewhere. Throw some rocks, 5-6 rocks in each bag. You have dumbbells. I was like, if you want it bad enough, you'll figure it out. I promise you.
I don't want that.
I was like, yo, figure it out. There's always a way.
You got like gallon water
Yeah,
bottles.
I was like, you gotta do what you gotta do.
That's what we were doing, Padre, the gallons. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hey, it works.
And then from there, it was just kept going with the momentum. Was in the process and still am. I wanted to do an apparel brand called Alpha Strong. Same thing. It's actually based around more of my mom. She was my mom and my dad. I appreciated everything that she did. Like, she would still to this day, she works probably 3 to 4 jobs. We were leaving this morning to drive up from San Antonio. She was waking up too to go work. That they were driving up to Austin with her boyfriend. Wow. And that's why she said, well, now that we've gotten older, she's like, you're probably the one that's closest to me. Like, you love to work. I was like, well, I like to hustle. Like, it's not just about you got to enjoy the journey and the process of where you're getting to. I was like, because so many times people get so focused on the end result that you lose yourself in the process. And then now, more than anything, just glad to be part of co-culture. I love everything about it, the energy, the family, the vibe of it. It's hard to find any type of business organizations like that. That was part of the reason why I personally never even hopped into one.
Yeah.
Like I got numerous sponsorships. For me, I'm a very big natural athlete. I do my research from everything. If I can, I avoid honestly even do protein shakes. I rather eat. There's more nutritional value in it. Your body digests it slower, so you don't get as hungry after just taking a protein shake. And it's easier to track too. So for me, it's just become habit. Just got to become more aware. I also launched into meal preps that I would do for clients as well in San Antonio. My awareness for that in San Antonio was majority towards the Hispanic and Mexican family, because from what I saw from even my own culture was we don't know what portions are. Like what happens, you have family gatherings and it's fill up the plate, Thanksgiving's coming up, Christmas, later at the night be like seconds, thirds.
Yeah, I've been to some of those Tex-Mex restaurants.
Well, no, it's literally a big plate.
Yeah.
And I literally had a rule for my clients. I do not make meal preps on the weekends, just Monday through Friday.
Okay.
Because I want you to learn what a portion is. I don't want you to completely rely on meal preps. I want you to still be able to go out, look at the plate, be like, this is 2 servings. I could either share this or I could save it for later.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, but it was because just making more conscious decisions, because sometimes we make decisions without even thinking about it. At that point, we're not really building our brain that much as more, which that's what I love. Brain box, like very neurological function, memory, focus. It's game changer, like in general. A lot of times I know for me, I'm very ADD. I get distracted a lot. I always have 100 things going on at once. And that's why I'm super stoked about that as well. Like, I know it's going to help me get same thing to the next level. I feel people cross paths at certain times in life. Same thing, people don't cross paths for same reasons, because you're not ready to cross paths yet. I was like, we need all of that to build up, and then when time's right, people intertwine, and then it's time to grow again.
Speaking of, I mean, she was saying yesterday when we were talking about you kind of have a future passion to want to like do like some sort of gym that helps children that
I was gonna say. It's like, I don't know, it's always been like deep down, like I know that's what I want to do. So I want to own my own nonprofit gym for inner city kids and orphans. Just give them a space, but it's gonna be more than a gym. It's gonna have tutors, it's gonna have psychologists, like it's gonna have everything to help them escape the environment that they face every day that they don't have any control over.
you got some experience there.
And the same pastor I actually used to work with, he works for a nonprofit now for one of the agencies here, and it's kids when everything was going on with the borders locking down because of COVID that got separated from families.
Yeah, y'all should look up at that.
I'm still in contact with them actually, which I was trying to even get T-shirts or something. I was like, it doesn't have to be nothing big. That's what I was telling them. I was like, these kids literally have not seen their family for months. It doesn't matter what it is. Like even the smallest thing, it would mean the world to them. And just from that's always been like my drawn to every time. That was my biggest turning point. And if I knew what I knew at that age, I know things would have worked out a lot different. But at the same time, I wouldn't change anything that I went through up to this day, because then I wouldn't be the person that I am today.
For sure. Yeah.
So I was like, you can't forget where you come from.
That's absolutely right. I believe that. So with that all being said, well, first thing, you have the choice to make, Michelle, right? Let's bring that out on the table real quick. Yeah. So like you have 2 job offers on the table right now, which is they're going to pull you away from Austin.
Yes. So I'm either moving to Illinois or Dallas. Okay.
So you have a week to figure it out, you said?
Yeah, give or take. Yeah. A little less. And like, so it really depends on where I see myself in the future.
Where do you see yourself? Let's figure this out.
So, that's so hard because it's like one job. Am I money driven for a short term or am I a long term? So where do I see myself? I don't know because I have that goal and that dream of owning my own nonprofit gym, which would be the upfront, short term money. Or I pursue what I went to school for and try that passion and that goal for a longer term where I'm still making good money, but it's a process. So it's like a long-term game. So it's really, really hard. I know I can't go wrong with either, but that's kind of where I need to self-reflect and figure out where do I see myself?
Yeah.
And where do I want to be in 5 years?
Yeah. So what's it gonna be?
Let's roll through it.
Oh, God.
Take whichever one you don't.
Yeah.
That was agreement.
I don't know, because so the job in Dallas, they pay for my living and they pay for me to get a brand new car.
That's nice.
Plus a
nice.
decent salary and free benefits because I'm working for the city and the state.
Okay.
Other job,
You'll be in Texas. That's a
I'll be in Texas where it's warm and I don't have to go into the snow. Illinois is cold, but it's about $20K plus a month.
Yeah. And
Guaranteed.
Chicago's pretty cool.
And Chicago's pretty cold. And my parents told me they would never visit me in Chicago, so.
Good thing it's short term.
Yeah. They were like, we are not going from the cold to the cold.
Yeah. Well, look, I want to see you guys compete together. Like on the same, if you can find a natural bodybuilding show that's wherever it is, we figure it out. If there's one in Texas or if you're in Chicago or whatever you decide to do, I think we should. Yeah.
I'll be in the crowd changing.
Yeah.
I mean,
We should find one that you guys do, and we're gonna have Sacred here. Just like document a story, maybe it's like a dual story.
Absolutely. 30 days out for each year.
Yeah. If y'all are down.
yeah, absolutely.
do it.
I mean, I heard there's shows in like Europe and like Canada. Team trip, I don't know. But no, absolutely. I would love that. I do plan, I mean, I have to go through a little bulking phase, and I know we were talking, he would too.
Yeah.
So I'm
Well, it'd be
thinking
probably several months from now.
Yeah, spring, summer, I
Yeah.
could definitely.
Yeah, summer would probably be like the earliest, just to have enough time.
All right.
Let's do it though.
Well, yeah, let's talk about that and see if there's like something we can figure out. And then Sacred he just always wants to film people.
Yeah, I'm down for that. I'll just cheer you guys on.
Eat donuts in our face.
Yeah.
If only I like donuts.
It's like, look what I got. Post meal.
I was just gonna say that post show
Post
treat.
meal, I remember I was like, man, I'm starving. I was like, I haven't had pizza. Got a large Pizza Hut, triple stuffed cheese. I actually had to call them because there was a max of things you could select online. And I was like, so I have a question. Is there a max of things you could add, or is it just like whatever? Like, no, go for it. I was like, all right, well, I want all of this. Then got boneless wings, biggest order you could get, and a big old brownie cake. I was in sleep for 15 hours.
Oh, comatose. Yeah.
Just out. I was like, oh, I feel so amazing.
How do you feel when you wake up the next day?
It's good at first, but so the mistake that a lot of people do is you go through a downward spiral effect because you're so deprived. So that's when your real self-control gets played. There's a lot of post gains to be made if you eat the right stuff because your body's absorbing everything. But the problem is naturally after the first day of binging, most people don't know how to stop. And they're like, one more day. And then it eventually gets to the point where you see the abs start to disappear, and then it's like red flags. Oh, all right, time to get back on.
I would almost say the reverse diet, right after the show, is harder than the diet to get to the show. because the self-control is like your cravings are just through the roof. And like you said, like once you have that, like I went to like an all-you-can-eat sushi place.
Nice.
Like unlimited, just like
Nice choice.
pigged out. But like it is hard the next day. Like that control, I would say, is almost harder than the whole process of prepping.
It's interesting. I would never thought that. Well, what about Belize? I know you've been talking about.
So yeah, we're supposed to be going to Belize.
Meet somebody?
Yeah, me, Michelle's coming, David Poku, Quinn. Those are the two that went to Portugal with me. And then Quinn's girlfriend. And then Michelle's also bringing another Michelle, because we have to have two.
Michelle's squid. Because one Michelle is not enough.
It's not enough. But yeah, so we're just gonna, we're actually building the itinerary right now.
Yeah.
I think, what are we, like 3 weeks out maybe?
Y'all gonna hit some workouts?
Oh yeah.
Oh, for sure.
I will be. I don't know about them, but
For sure.
Excited?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I can't wait. I'm a beach person at heart, so being East Coast, like I live on the beach, but
Oh yeah.
I'm the type of person who
He's
can.
gonna have to vlog it.
But I can stay on a
gonna
beach from like
sit
6
all the
a.m.
time.
to like 7 p.m. Like I can just plop my nice little butt right there and stay there.
Nice.
Yeah, and our itinerary is
That
gonna
might
be
be
a
it.
lot more.
I know, we're gonna be on the go.
Yeah.
Which is
We're
fine.
definitely gonna do scuba diving.
For the vlog, you'll just have to set her up with a GoPro.
Yeah.
Time lapse.
There you go.
Yeah, watch the sun go down, me tanning all day.
Y'all are doing some hectic stuff and like super like stressed out, and she's just like
Right.
passed out or something.
Well, so David and Quinn, they're both adrenaline junkies. So
Skydiving. guy.
yeah, so Quinn, it's funny. Quinn is he's a master diver. I think he has over 300 jumps skydiving. He's actually a pilot.
Oh really? I didn't-
He has all these random qualifications. Like he's awesome. And then David, he's also an adrenaline junkie. Like you can't find something that he won't jump off of. So yeah, I think he's like got over 400 jumps. He skydives every weekend. Whenever we travel,
Do they know Ryan? Ryan? Or
Yeah. So
Okay, they all get along.
yeah, they know Ryan. Yeah. Ryan's probably the craziest one of the group. She got a chance
Oh
to
my
experience
God.
that firsthand.
He caught on fire too, and he was like, "This is awesome." And I'm like, "You're
So-
on fire."
That guy's wild. That guy's a trip.
Yeah. So yeah, I gotta show you the video. I was filming on Canyon Lake. He did a tandem with her, but then he also had a bunch of guys out there. They're gonna start doing air shows.
Yeah.
So they're out there practicing. They wanted me to come with the FPV and start filming
nice.
it.
Yeah.
And when Ryan landed, he came down, and because he had fireworks shooting out of his the
course.
back the back of his paramotor.
But they even had them on their feet too. They had like this little contraption where they shot it through
On
their
his feet?
Yeah.
So when he lands, though,
boy wild.
when he lands, like I'm running towards him, like, bro, you're on fire. And he's like, what? And I run, I'm like, yo, you're on fire. And he looks like, he starts laughing. He starts laughing.
I know.
I'm like, "What?" And he's like, oh, well, I guess I gotta get out. Like he like paused.
Casual. Dude. So calm.
Yeah, and then we had one of his friends actually had to pull his emergency chute. So he was doing some crazy stuff in the air, and all of a sudden, I see him with two chutes, and he's falling very fast. And like this is the first time I've ever seen any of this. And he lands in a tree, and everybody was like, "Yo, like we've been doing this 5 years, 7 years. We've never seen anyone pull their emergency chute." So it was crazy. Everybody was okay. He was fine, but he was more mad that he messed up his paramotor than anything. I'm like, bro, you walked away with your life.
Yeah, that's wild.
That tree saved his life.
Yeah. But yeah, so we went from Belize to Canyon Lake. But yeah, Belize is gonna be awesome. We plan on scuba diving for sure, because that's one of the things that people do there a lot. There's this big hole, I forgot the name of it, but if you fly over it, it's just like a lot more blue than the rest of the ocean. We may check that out.
Great description.
All right. Well, so
Blue hole.
like, okay, so say the rest of the water is a little bit lighter around it. It's
Yeah.
this big, dark, blue, scary looking hole.
You have underwater camera gear, right?
Yeah.
So you can like do one of those cool shots where you like get it underwater.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we got, we got GoPros.
Yeah.
So, and the red filters and everything.
Ever seen that one shot that's like he looks like he's like 1,000 feet below,
Yeah.
but it's just like a really wide angle. I don't know what the photographer's name was.
It's probably Sam Colder, I think.
So, yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, I think I know the shot you're talking about
it's,
actually.
it's iconic. You know, yeah.
Yeah, I think. Well, I think it's.
But they did it in one of those like deep spots where like you can go deep and it gets dark and it's lighter up top and you have that contrast.
Have you seen the video?
No.
Okay, I gotta show you. Yeah, Sam Colder.
Video.
He came out with a video and like, if I remember correctly, they said that they would practice like every day. Basically, they would go to the bottom and then take off their gear to shoot this.
What?
And hold their breath. I gotta show you. The video's amazing.
It's insane.
Yeah, but they
Don't do that.
Yeah. Listen. I'm a certified scuba diver to 40 feet. That's as deep as I want to. I don't. Because once you start going deeper and deeper, there's a lot more ways you can die.
Yeah.
And I just, you could legitimately hallucinate when you go like a certain depth. I forget which
pressure.
Because of pressure, you start hallucinating, so you can only be down there for so long before like. You start doing crazy stuff. You might take off your mask. You just never know.
I'm trying to get them to go cage diving with the sharks, you know?
Cage diving sounds.
You could do that.
I would love to do that.
See, actually, as crazy as David is, he won't even do that.
Really?
Yeah, he said he wouldn't want to go cage
I would do
diving.
that.
All right, well, we're getting here to right about our 45-minute mark, so I guess we'll be wrapping it up. But it's been nice talking to you guys.
Yeah, thanks for
We should do
having
it again for sure. And I know you'll have some great content coming out in Belize. We'll have to do some content with you, Jesus. Some workout content, maybe. Something. We'll figure it out.
Still lean.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we get into the show.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah. You
Zaddy
strike me as a guy who's pretty much lean all the time now. Yeah.
I'm thick right now.
Yeah.
I mean, in Texas, you really can't hibernate, so.
That's true. We have like a week of winter.
Unless it freezes over.
Right.
Yeah.
That'll happen once every 100 years, I guess.
We'll see.
All right. Well, thank you guys. Really appreciate it. It's been an awesome weekend just hanging out with you guys. And I know our team at Core Culture and everyone here just can't thank you guys enough for contributing your pretty faces and your stories and all that stuff and just coming to the shows and representing the brand. It's not easy to get people to get bought into something, but you guys seem like y'all have the same core values that we do. We believe in a natural, balanced way of living and sharing those stories and those emotions, authentically with real people, and it's not about being some, superhero person, because we're all superheroes in our own way, and to other people we're superheroes, like you were talking about with your nephew, so yeah, I think that's really cool, and I just want to thank you guys so much.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, so let's go to Belize.
Let's do it.
All right, it's a wrap.